There we are.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning and good afternoon for those of you that are on the East Coast, and for those of you that might be a little bit further east, maybe, possibly some of our clients in Europe. To all of you, thanks so much for joining us. Absolute honor to be able to spend this time with you.
Yes, I'm Jen Moncluse.
And I'm Bob Cooper.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Let's get started.
You bet. I'm ready if you are, Jen.
Okay. So, welcome, everyone. Just wanted to share a little bit about who we are. I'll move our camera over here so I can read this to you guys. We're a company that lives by the principles of never putting money ahead of people. And that's a philosophy we all live by here at Elite. It starts from management and trickles on down.
Yeah, well said, Jen. And this is something that we actually live by as an organization. I think Jen will agree. When we're recruiting, when we're looking for the amazing people to bring into our organization, we really do look for their principles more than anything else. What are their guiding principles? And when those people come into our organization, it's amazing how strong a company can become when you have the right guys and gals working with you. And again, we're talking about the people that have the principles, much like Jen. And for me, that's why it's actually a pleasure to work with her. She's very gifted at what she does. You'll find that out with this webinar. But she certainly lives by this principle. So thanks so much for putting up that slide, Jen.
Yeah, no problem. And moving along.
Okay.
What do we do?
Yeah, this is what we do. And just like it says on the screen, guys and gals, we help shop owners build more successful businesses and reach their goals. While at the same time, we work really, really hard at making sure that all of our clients are able to have a really positive, a really good impact on their employees, all the customers that they have that come in and out of their shops, and certainly their communities as well. We feel that we're doing a disservice to any client of ours if we just help them with their business alone. We feel that we have to help all of the people, all the lives that they touch. So bottom line is, this is what we do. This is how we help people.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, and then the next slide that we have, Jen?
Our course objectives. So what we're here to do is provide you guys with information that will help you more in finding and identifying your ideal customers in the most affordable and ethical and effective way.
Yeah, this is certainly what we're looking to do, without a question at all. And hopefully we're going to be able to pull this off. This webinar is actually going to be broken into 4 different segments, and we're going to talk about those in just a minute. So, Jen, why don't we start rolling through those segments, if we could, please, those sessions, and let's give them a little bit of an overview of what we're going to be covering.
Absolutely. So session 1 today, we're going to review the most common terms used in marketing. So that'll be really helpful. Help you guys position your shop, and we'll cover part 1 of how to identify your ideal customers.
Yes, sir. We're certainly going to do that. And when we talk about the common terms, it's sort of, let's call it marketing language. When you're talking to different ad people in the industry, when you're looking to do some print media or radio media or whatever it is to build your brand, it's a lot better if we can understand how to communicate with those people. So we felt we could best serve you by starting at grassroots. Let's start with the basics. Let's start with the language that they use. And then what we're going to do is we're going to roll in, like Jen says, to part 1 of how you identify the ideal guy or gal that's going to come into your company.
Right. I know you guys will love that.
Okay, and part 2, what we're going to do, or I should say in session 2, that's when we're going to cover part 2 of identifying your ideal customer. There's quite a bit of content there, so we actually broke it in half. And then we also know a lot of you guys and gals are wondering, gee, what should my budget be? Should every shop have the same budget? What about financial allocation? Well, you know what? We're going to help you with all of that. And we're going to do that in session 2, which is going to be a week from now.
And to follow up on that, session 3 is how to reach those ideal customers in the most affordable and effective way.
Yeah, boy, you're going to love that one too. I have every reason to believe that. And then when we get into session 4, we're going to help you see how you can track those customers, how you can figure out who's coming from what medias, and how do you measure that in your campaigns, and then how do you at the same time improve customer satisfaction and generate more repeat and more referral customers that I know each and every one of you are looking for. So we're going to cover that in session 4. And each one of these sessions is going to be held on Wednesday, starting today. And each one is going to be a successive date and a successive time. So next Wednesday at 10, the Wednesday after that at 10 Pacific time, the Wednesday after that, the Wednesday after that. So those of you that are able to join us for all 4, you're going to have to put up with me for all 4. So thanks again for being here.
Yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned. I know you're going to love what you have to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to remind you guys how to best benefit from these courses sure you're uninterrupted. We'd love your undivided attention. Make sure, ideally, you're in a space where you won't be distracted, so you can really gain the most out of these courses.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Make sure that you take good notes. This video is going to be recorded. It's going to be available on YouTube to you, so you can always go back and watch it again.
And please make sure you guys keep an open mind. There's going to be lots of terms, lots of subjects, lots of content that might be new. We just ask you not to dismiss that, let these ideas settle. And of course, there's going to be some time for us to answer questions you guys have.
Yeah, one of the things that I've learned over the years, to Jen's point, and I know how she thinks, I know how she's wired, is one of the things that we've all learned about, all of us in the elite have learned about people over the years, the guys and gals that go to the top. The one thing that they have in common, they have a number of things in common, and this is certainly one of them. So if you have an open mind, then you're willing to look at things differently. You're willing to let go of some of those old thoughts that you had and old methods that you had in your brain. So you're going to hear a lot of things that you're probably going to feel uncomfortable with, but all that we ask you to do is just keep an open mind.
Exactly.
Okay, and during the session, all that you'll need to do is we're going to give you the opportunity to fire off questions to us. All that you'll need to do is down at the bottom, or I should say to the right, to the right of your screen, you'll see a little icon that's question. All that you'll need to do is click on that, and you can type in your question, and then we're going to have a Q&A session toward the end of this segment, and at that point, what we'll do is we'll bring up those questions, and time allowed, we'll answer as many of those as we can for you.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan. So just in case the control panel to the right-hand side might be a distraction for you guys, you will see a little orange button with an arrow. That will actually minimize or hide your control panel. So if you guys want to click that right now so you can see the screen, I'd encourage you to do that.
Yeah, good idea, Jen. Good recommendation. Thanks for recommending that.
No problem. And you know what? Why don't we do that, Bob? I'm going to actually just shut the camera off a little bit so you guys can pay attention to everything we're doing today. We'll come back via camera towards the end.
Yeah, great point, Jen. So we're still going to be here, but we really rather you not look at us. We really rather that you be paying really close attention to the screen, because that's where the content's going to be that you're going to be taking notes on.
All right, you ready?
I am, Jen, if you are.
Okay.
So let's get rolling if we could, please. So guys and gals, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with some marketing terms. But the first thing that I want to do, even before we dive into these terms, is I want to give you some thoughts here, some things to consider in regard to this course. One of the things that frustrates me over the years in this industry of owning auto repair shops and running Elite is when I meet shop owners, it seems like there's so much miscommunication. It seems like there's so much of a misunderstanding. Guys and gals will go, you know what, I think I want to do this kind of direct mail marketing because it worked for Larry and I think it'll work for my shop. Or look at this ad, I want to take that ad, and that's a really great ad that I got from a shop owner on the other part of town, and I know him really well, and I'm just going to take out his name and drop in my name, and I'm going to use that ad and I'm going to run with it. And you know, all those things are really, really, really fatal mistakes, because what you wind up with is a lot of pieces in your marketing campaigns and your advertising strategies. You wind up with a lot of different pieces, and none of them are really connected. So when you look at a really well-ran business, they all have a lot of things in common. And what they do is they understand marketing. They understand the big picture. And that's what we're looking to do today, is we're looking to help you understand the big picture of what you need to do to really build a really amazing brand in your company. So long-winded statement, but let's get started. Let's talk about the first term that's up here is marketing. Let's talk about what that term is all about. Marketing is not advertising, first of all. A lot of guys and gals, for whatever reason, they get confused. They'll say, you know what, I got this new marketing piece, or advertise. I'm going to build my company through advertising or whatever. And they don't understand that those two words are not interchangeable. Marketing actually means you need to identify who your ideal customer is. You need to identify who you are, what is the messaging that you want to send to your customers, and how are you going to reach those individuals. So marketing is the biggest of big pictures. It's starting off with, well, you know what, I'm going to be Elite Auto Service, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to target this specific kind of customer. And the one thing that I know about this specific kind of customer is they drive these kind of automobiles, and I also know that they like to golf, and I also know that they have a college education, and I also know that they have 1.3 children at home, and I know that they have a pet, and I know that in order to reach those people, I'm going to have to make sure that I have grays and light greens and all of my branding material. This is what marketing is all about. It's the big picture. So that when you use that term, make sure that you understand it's not advertising, but it's how you're going to go to market, who your customers are, the messages that you're going to use to reach them. So marketing is number one. And Jen, what do we have underneath that? What's the next bullet point?
Yeah, the next bullet point, to piggyback on what Bob was saying, is now advertising. So this, you guys, is actually how we communicate that to people. So simply put, advertising gets the word out about you. It helps people understand, one, who you are, two, what you do, and three, why you're the best choice. So this is reaching out via, community-based campaigns,
right.
Your customer retention programs, things like the radio, all the different medias that you guys use.
Great point. So, Jen, what you're telling us is advertising. Then, when you have your marketing plan, advertising is the tools, or the methodology, or the systems that you're going to use, the medias that you're going to use, and to reach those people.
Correct.
So there you go, guys and gals. That's the difference in marketing and advertising. Let's go to the next bullet point, if we could. Jen, this is one that, Jen, and to the rest of you, I should say, not Jen, just aware, to the rest of you, that a USP is a term that most shop owners are not familiar with, that every marketing organization, every marketing individual really understands what a USP is. And let me give you a little bit of a background, if I could. It was actually a gentleman by the name of Roster Reeves, and he was actually in Manhattan in New York, and this was many years ago. And he came to the conclusion that if you want to market a product, what you have to do is you have to identify what it is about your product that really separates you from everyone else in the industry. And he referred to that as what makes it unique. What is a unique selling proposition? What is it that you're going to tell the customer, the potential customer, as to the reason that they need to choose you? So to give you an example, hot and fresh and within 30 minutes is all about Domino's. When you think of FedEx, they'll say absolutely, positively, overnight. When you think of automobiles, and I mentioned Volvo and safety of children, immediately, I should say when I say safety of children, immediately you'll probably think of Volvo. So the reason that Volvo does that, the reason that they spend tens of millions of dollars on advertising campaigns and getting that message out about safety with children, is they're saying to you as a potential customer, this is who we are, this is what makes us different, this is why you need to buy our automobile. FedEx says absolutely, positively, overnight. What are they doing? They're saying to the consumer, there are a lot of other companies out there that have delivery services, but if you really want to get it there tomorrow, boy, you better think of us. And Domino's, again, does the same thing. So in the auto repair business, you need to ask yourself, what is your USP? How do you do that? Well, a lot of different ways of doing it. What I would encourage you to do is sit down with all of your team, get them all involved, and have a conversation. And ask them, what is your differential? What makes you different than everyone else in the community that's in the auto repair business? Why should customers choose you? Do you have a really over-the-top warranty that you offer? Do you offer a 5-year all parts, all labor warranty, as an example? Are you open some really extended hours, as an example? Do you have, or each and every one of your techs, ASE, Master Certified Technicians, what is it about your business that makes you really different than everyone else? And when I say that, this is not like the flavor of the day. This is something that you don't want to change from day to day. It has to be something that's going to be in your DNA as you continue to grow your shop. So long-winded statement, but that's what your USP is. Jen, can we take a look at another one now?
Absolutely. Great tip, Bob. So let's talk about the definition of the term brand, you guys. So simply, brand, it's a promise that is made. That's your brand, and that's a promise that is kept. So think of big brands out there, you guys. We'll throw out Starbucks, Apple, Southwest Airlines, that's a big one, Mercedes, and so on. Their customers with rare exception, they know that they're going to receive exactly what they expect to receive.
Good question.
So the brand, is how the consumer views you. It's really what the world says about you as well.
So you're saying, Jen, if I'm understanding clearly, when you make a promise, meaning you tell somebody something through the media, we have a 3-year warranty, a no-hassle warranty, you have to deliver on it. And that's what the brand is then, right? And it's how the community recognizes you, how you live up to your promise is your brand.
Exactly.
Cool.
You nailed it.
Cool. Great messages, Jen. What else do we have up here?
We have brand awareness campaigns.
Okay, now here's where a lot of guys and gals get a little confused too. When we talk about brand awareness campaigns, what that means is that's when you're investing money in your marketing strategies and all the advertising that you're using to not have what we call a call to action, but just have brand awareness. This means if you have a pens that you give out to your customers and if they have the name of your shop on it, this means if you put the name of your company on park benches, this means if you have the name of your company or if you sponsor a Little League team, that's brand awareness. And brand awareness simply means you're making the customer aware of who you are. You're not trying to sell them anything. You're just saying, hey, we're Elite Auto Service, and this is what brand awareness campaigns are. Any campaign that does not evoke the customer to do something right now or buy a product or service is considered brand awareness. So the next time you go in a grocery store and or you go to a sporting event and you see a Red Bull sign is an example, that's brand awareness.
Gotcha. Nicely said. Okay, and another term to share with you guys, call to action campaign.
Okay, and call to action campaigns are uniquely different than brand awareness campaigns. Call to action campaigns are when you're telling the customer, okay, time to come in and time to get that 60K service done, time to get that 30K service done. Here's a July special. Bring your car in now. Bring your car in now with this coupon discount. Save $50 off of a major repair. Whatever it is, when you have an advertising piece that calls the customer to action, it's called a CTA. Whenever you have a marketing or an advertising piece that tells the customer, here's what I'm going to do for you, here's the price that we're going to charge, and here's how you're going to benefit. And even if and in many cases, there could be a deadline on it, an expiration date. That's what is referred to as a call to action ad. So the next time in your area you see one of the shop owners that's advertising a special on brake jobs as an example, that's a CTA ad. That's a call to action ad. That is not a brand awareness campaign. Now, there's something really interesting about that. Can we take a look at the next slide, Jen?
Yes.
I think this one's the one that's really interesting and certainly worth the conversation. It says university studies, including one that was recently concluded by the University of Central California, continues, guys and gals, year after year after year after year after year, continues to find that brand awareness messaging, you got to love this, brings a better return on investment than call to action campaigns.
Wow.
So most shop owners think, well, you know what, I tried doing that billboard and it didn't work. I tried doing bus sales and it just didn't work. I tried doing park benches and you know what, it didn't work. Well, in reality, they may not have had any customers come in that time, that day, saying, oh, I saw you're on a bus sale or whatever, but it more than likely did work. It got the message into the customer's mind. So before you give up on brand awareness campaigns, you might want to consider these studies.
Absolutely. All right, so we've covered call to action campaigns. So let's tackle laddering, you guys.
Yeah, boy, this is a goodie, huh?
This is a cool term. So laddering, in the simplest of terms, you guys, this is the positioning your brand has in reference to competing brands. So maybe think of the term, top of mind awareness when it comes to laddering. And if you guys could just, imagine a ladder with rungs. So here's an example, maybe a little exercise. If I were to ask you guys to go out and buy a TV, what brand would first come to mind? So think about that. My head would go to, Panasonic. So that brand, that's going to be on the first rung of the ladder. So let's think about another brand of TV. What about, let's just say, Sharp? That could be the next on this ladder. That would be on the second rung. That's where that would fall. And what about a third one, you guys? TV brands, maybe Vizio?
Good call.
No, that one's third rung. So as you guys can tell, if you were to keep going down these rungs, it's probably going to get harder and harder to start thinking of those TV brands. But that's what the objective is of Laddering. We want you to move your brand towards the first rung with your campaign. So we want you guys, to be the top of your consumer's mind. We want you to be ahead of your competition when you're thinking of laddering. This is why, everyone, brand awareness campaigns, they play a really big role in the development of your company.
So, Jen, you're saying that if I'm understanding you clearly, if you're saying I'm thirsty, I'm thinking of a soft drink, and I think Coke.
Right.
You're saying that that's on the first rung in the ladder of my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, well, they don't have Coke. What else? What else is out there? And then I think of Red Bull as an example. That's on the second rung, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my case, I think Red Bull is going to be on the first, second, third, and fourth rung anyway. I think it's going to be on all the rungs. But if it's Coke is on the first rung, and then I think, well, Pepsi would be on the second rung. What you're suggesting is top of the mind awareness is built through brand awareness.
Yes, correct.
So the more money we invest in brand awareness, the more we'll become at the top of their mind to get on that first rung ladder.
Yep, correct. You nailed it.
Okay, cool. Well, you're the gal that explained it, and I think you did a really great job there. Help me better understand that. So thanks for doing that, Jen.
Sure. Okay. Next one.
Okay, positioning. Now, guys and gals, let's spend a little time on this because this is something that you really need to understand as well. And positioning means where you're going to position your business, your shop, not physically, but in the world of marketing. Where are you going to position your shop in comparison to all of your competitors? So, Jen, let's take a look at this. Could we pull up a screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. Now, guys and gals, I hope that this is not confusing, but I want to show you something. Take a look at the screen. As you see at the top, it says high price, and at the bottom, it says low price. So a business, an auto repair shop, could be at the low price. As you know, there are a lot of shops that are out there that are really cheap. Then you have the high prices, the shops out there that charge, let's say, a lot of money for their services. So you have high price and low price. But then you have another variable, and it's what are they delivering for service, in return for the money that you're spending. You walk into a store, you buy a TV, you might spend a lot of money for it, but you have an expectation that you're going to get a lot of value. It's going to be a great TV, and it's going to last a long time. Mm-hmm. It's no different with auto service. So you need to ask yourself, where do you position? High and low price, low value delivered, great value delivered. So if you take a look at the screen, I want to point out a couple of things to you. Look where it says great technicians. It doesn't, to the lower right, it doesn't say great shops, it says great technicians. And the reason that Jen and I chose to drop that in there is this is the shop, this is the tech that decided, he's worked in the business a long time, he's going to open up his own shop, and it's a one-man band, as we say. That's all that he could do. Well, you know what? He wants to try to get all of your customers. He wants to try to build his business. So what he's going to do is he's going to be lower priced, as you all know. He's going to be lower than you, that tech that used to work for you. And you know what else he's going to do? He's going to try to deliver a lot of really great service to those customers because he wants to build his business. So as you can see, he's in low price, high value, but there's a challenge with that. He's also in the quadrant that says there's no profit. Mm-hmm. As we all know, if you sell something at a low price and you give the customer a tremendous amount in return, you can't live in business. You're unable to do that. Now, if you could, take a look at the quadrant to the left. This is where the mass merchandisers live. And you've seen those, the big box stores that are out there that sell auto repair and service. They, too, try to keep their prices under the center line. They try, too, to be off price. But as we all know, they really don't deliver a lot of value. Mm-hmm. Customers that go there get priced and pretty much priced alone and not a whole bunch more. If you look right above that, look where it says provides limited value. Now, here's where you're going to have a lot of maybe the fast foods. And I know that there are some fast foods out there that deliver more value than others. But I think it's safe to say that a good percentage of the fast foods, they really don't deliver the same value that a dealer would deliver or a well-ran shop would deliver, because all that they're trying to do is just get the customer in, service their oil, and get it back on the road again as quickly as possible. Now, if you look to the right, now we have the dealerships. And what are the dealerships doing? Well, They're pretty high prices, we know, in the industry at least, and they deliver a decent value. So the question is, where do you live? And if we take a look at the next screen, Jen, here is where you could live. This is you. Now, the question is, are you going to live there, where your prices are just a little bit higher than the midline, and you're delivering a better value than most of the guys? Or I'm going to click them out. Are you going to live there, where your price is a little higher and you're delivering even more value? Are you going to live here? Are you going to live here? Now, as you can see, the further you go out, when you're delivering a higher price value, or when you're delivering more service, your prices are going to have to go up to sustain that service that you're delivering. The problem with that, the thing that you need to bear in mind is, as you go further up and to the right, one thing is for certain: there's going to be less customers, less people that are going to be willing to buy your product and service. So as you know, there are a lot of companies, the really high-end clothing, the designer companies, very high-priced, great with service, and they only have a handful of people that they're able to sell to. So they might only sell one dress a week, but you know what, or one dress a day, but you know what, they sell those and make a lot of money on those. Your business is no different. So how far you go out on this to the right is going to depend on how many of your targeted customers are in your community. So Jen and I came to the agreement that we needed to really cover this for you, cover this with you, because it's a term that is commonly used in marketing, where you're going to hear about laddering and you're going to hear about positioning. So this is what positioning is all about. So done with positioning, and we're on to the next slide.
Next slide, which should be traditional marketing channels. So just to briefly go over that, that's going to include all of the really common media, such as your print and your direct mail, radio, television, website, and so on. Those common media that you guys are familiar with.
Okay, so it's the ones, I guess, Jen, that everybody's using all the time. Huh?
Right, yes.
Okay, and then the next bullet says non-traditional marketing channels. These are the ones, guys and gals, that are off of the wall. These are the ones that people go, oh, that's really different. You go into your local sports bar and you'll see your ad there. You'll have a brand ad in the local sports bar. That's non-traditional. You posting information on a community blog that is not an auto-related blog, but that blog is read by your targeted customers. That's non-traditional. So non-traditional is anything, let's use the term, and we'll cover these later, anything that's really out of the box. It's something that, again, is not traditional. So this is a term that you're going to often hear in the world of marketing. Right. So that's a little bit of an update, guys and gals, on all of the different terms. Jen, I think we covered them all?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So let's do this, Jen, if we could. Let's talk about the steps that they need to take to really bring in the ideal customers and save a lot of money on their advertising campaigns and build a more profitable business. So step number one, I guess, is where we need to start.
Right. So what we ask you guys to do is put your dreams and vision to paper. So you'll see here, the first step of that is what we want you to do is identify your long-term, your midterm, and your short-term goals. Without these goals on paper, you guys, I have to tell you, you're not going to be very effective. So you don't know how to market your company unless we have these identified. So understand, bottom line, where you're going so you guys, can really plan accordingly.
Yeah, well said, well said. So Jen, if I'm I have the Elite Auto Repair, and if I'm looking at different marketing strategies and advertising strategies, you're suggesting I need to have a vision as to what my shop is going to look like 10 years from now, and how many bays I might have, and people working with me. Safe to say?
Safe to say.
Well, thanks, Jen.
Yeah. And then the other one on this slide I have for you guys is draft your mission statement. So your mission statement, everyone, I know we'll have a detailed conversation about this, but this really defines your purpose. So your mission statement is going to help explain what you're there to do and why your company is in place. It's going to be obvious with that.
Yeah, well, we have an example, Jen, that we could show them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, guys and gals, look, here's the mission statement of Elite. And I'm going to take a moment to read this because it's something that I'm really passionate about. It says, Elite's mission is to use our team of top experts in America, the top experts in America, to help automotive professionals reach their goals and live happier lives while elevating the industry that we love so much. This mission will be accomplished without ever compromising our ethics or the trust that has been placed in us. And when people come to work with the Elite, the very first thing that they are given, one of the first things that they're given on day one is a copy of our mission statement. And as they're going through the orientation, they have to memorize that mission statement. It is literally a part of who we are. It is literally everywhere. It's in our workbooks that we give out at courses. It's on the back of our business cards. It's on the thank you cards that we give out. It's on our website. Our mission statement is everywhere. And it's there to remind us of the mission that we're on. So the goal is one thing that Jen was talking about earlier, where you're going to go with your company, what it's going to look like. The mission is the journey. What are you going to be doing every single day at your shop to make the country a better place, to make your community a better place, to help people in your community? So if you don't have a mission statement, it's time to sit down, talk to your guys and gals, have a meeting, and find out what it is that you and your company are all about. You know, what is your mission? Define it, write it down, set it off to the side, go back and visit it a week or two later, refine a little bit more, refine a little bit more a week or two later. Eventually you'll wind up with the ideal mission statement for you. Share it with all your guys and gals and then make a point to live by it.
Absolutely. Really, really important, as you can see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. I agree, Jeff. Okay, we're on to the next slide, it looks like, huh?
Yes.
Okay, step number one, now we're talking about draft your mission statement. This is the one we just covered, Jen, looks like, right? And then identify the culture of your company. Now, this is where we don't want to be confusing with you guys and gals. Your long-term goals are where you're going to go. Your midterm goals are sort of like the break points on the journey that you're going to. Your mission statement is what you're going to do every day as you're on that journey to reach your long-term goals. The culture of your company is what I refer to as the glue that holds you all together. So the culture that we have here at Elite is a culture of ethics. All of us have ethics. All of us live by a principle of never putting money ahead of people. It's what bonds us together. And you know what? Every company, regardless of whether or not they're aware of it or not, they all have a culture. Some have a culture of greed, in all candidness. Everybody that works at some shops or some businesses, all that they think about is, gee, how do I get more money from the guy next door? How do I get more money from the customers? This is a culture of greed. Some companies may have a culture of the environment, where everybody at the shop is, let's say, green. They all care about the thing that bonds them together is every single one of them care about the environment. They want to take care of the environment. So every shop is going to have a culture that bonds them together. And what I'm going to encourage all of you to do is identify what the culture of your company is, because it's going to help you as you put together the strategy for marketing your company.
Great.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. That's a great slide that you put up.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for putting that one in.
So step number 2, you guys, to help you out is identifying your ideal customers. So what do you need to do to identify the ideal customer? So what we're going to encourage you guys to do first is filter your customer database.
Yeah.
Okay? So we want you guys to bring in the right types of customers. So brands like Starbucks, I'm thinking Tesla, Apple, Bob said Red Bull earlier. They all work really hard and are really darn effective at targeting their ideal customer. They really understand who's going to be the best fit for their brand. So we're going to share a process with you guys today that'll be the first half, right, Bob, of how to filter that customer database.
Yeah, where a lot of guys, and Jen, I'm sure you'll agree with me, where a lot of shop owners get in trouble every single time. And God bless them, they have really big hearts, but they try to be everything to everybody.
Right.
They advertise and they say, bring your car in, we're going to help you. And they do all this media, they do radio or they do TV or whatever it is. And the mistake that they're making is they're spending a lot of money to bring in the wrong customers.
Right.
It's sort of like a fisherman. You go out and you're fishing and you have a net, you throw the net off the side of your boat, and you bring in a few of the fish that you're looking for, but at the same time bring in a lot of the fish that you're not really interested in. What are you going to do with those guys? You got to throw them back in. Well, you spend a lot of effort bringing in a lot of the wrong fish. It's no different when it comes to advertising and marketing for your company. You need to figure out who the ideal guys and gals are and building your strategies. That way, you can not only define everything that's going to be ideally targeted right to them, but you're not going to be wasting a lot of money to bring in the wrong kind of customers. And like Jen mentioned, I can't think of a company, Jen, that's better than you named off. Some great ones there. You mentioned Tesla, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Starbucks, the logo up there. Look at that company. Look at the great job that they have done of identifying who their ideal customers. Red Bull, same company, right? They know exactly who they're looking for. You know, they're not looking for grandma or grandpa. They're looking for, they know exactly who their customers are. So all of their marketing pieces are geared toward them. So one of the things that we hear from shop owners all of the time is, well, that sounds like a process. How in the world do I figure that one out? Well, you know what? It's a lot easier than you think. You know why? Because all the answers that you're looking for are right at your fingertips. And Jen and I are going to give you a starter here and help you see how to identify. Jen, don't we have a slide that we could pull up next?
Yes.
Oh, cool. So let's take a look at this one if we could. And let's talk about how you're going to start to identify who your ideal customer is. Now, this is where it becomes a little complex because Jen and I, speaking to an audience like you, we don't know the size of business you have. We don't know how many ROs you write a day. We don't know how old your business is. So I'm just going to give you an example if I could. What you need to do is you need to pull 500 of your most recent invoices. Don't go back more than 2 years. Only limit it to 2 years. And pull 500 of your most recent clients over 2 years. Then what I'm going to ask that you do is sort that 500 and find the people that have spent the most revenue with you. And then take those 200 that percolated to the top, and those are the people that we're going to look at. Now we're going to have 200 of the people that have spent the most money with you over the course of the past 2 years. And the thing that I'm going to ask that you knock out of that box or not include are any of the one-time customers. So if it's somebody from out of town that you'll never see again, don't include them.
Right.
If it's a one-time customer that you know for whatever reason you'll never see them again, don't include them. Throw those out. So all that we want to look at are the customers that are in your community that have been with you more than once and spent a lot of money with you. So that's number one. And then can we take a look at the next slide if we could, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, profitability. Then you take a look at that 200, those 200 repair orders, those 200 customers, and you sort them by profitability. You get down to, as an example, and you can use any numbers you want. I'm just giving you a working model here. Then you take it and you say, okay, out of that 200, let's find the 100 that are the most profitable. And what that means is you might look at those and you might, oh man, of all of these, you know the ones that are the most profitable? These Toyotas that we do scheduled services on, those are the ones that are most profitable. You might say, oh, look at these Volvos. You know, we got a lot of Volvos in here that, you know, when I sorted these for profitability, the thing that I found is most of those guys and gals are driving Volvos. So what you need to do is first sort them for how much money they spend at your shop, then sort them for the profitability, because what you're looking for, I'm sure that you know where this is going. What you're looking for are the target customers that are going to bring you profitability. And then the next bullet point that we have,
yes, is frequency of visits. So thinking about that, you guys, who are your frequent buyers? Well, who are those repeat customers, those folks that like to come back? We want you to find those. You know, are they coming back 1 time per year, 2 times per year, 3 times per year? So let's look at the ones you guys see more often, okay?
So now we have the total revenue spent, we have the profitability, and we're sorting them by the frequency. So now we're saying, okay, now I got a stack of 100 repair orders, and these are the people that have spent the most money with me in the most profitable way, and they come in on the most regular basis. Pretty cool, huh? Now, the next one after that, now we're going to say, okay, what kind of vehicles are these people driving, and what is the number of vehicles in their household? Because you might find when you sort it that way, you're looking for the clients that have the most vehicles in their household. And the reason that we're doing that is we might find that customer that has 3 vehicles, or 2 vehicles as an example, we might find that customer drives a Volvo, and that's the most profitable. Those are our targeted customers. But now we find that they got an SUV in their garage. So this is what we're looking for. And then after we sort them that way,
we're just going to simply look at gender, all right? Male or female, and then the approximate age of the customer.
Boy, don't want to ask the one now, right, Jen? Right?
So what we'll encourage you guys to do is group them in 10-year age groups. So what I mean by that is 10-year increments. So are they 20 to 30 increments, 30 to 40, 40 to 50 years old, 60 to 70? You guys know where we're going with that.
Yeah, great point. And yeah, so we're not going to, Jen, so you're saying at the point of sale, we don't want to ask these gals how old they are, right?
No.
Not recommended?
No.
Okay. All right. So we'll give it the best guess, and I know that you guys will do a good job at that. So what we've done to this point is we've given you a starter list, and we knew that Jen and I knew going into this, putting this list together, that we wouldn't have enough time to cover it in totality. So we have another list that we're going to look at when we pick up next week.
Next week.
We're going to continue on this process. But right now, we've been chatty people, Jen. So why don't we give them an opportunity to ask whatever questions that they might have. So,
absolutely.
Guys and gals, if you have any questions, I know that we got a few minutes left, and we'd love to be able to answer those for you if we could.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like we have a couple questions here. So you guys, as Bob mentioned before, we've got that little question box to the right. I see a few items have been entered in already. So let's see. I'll read this one aloud, Bob.
Okay.
Okay. What tools and or software do you recommend to filter our database? That's one question we've been asked by the audience.
Yeah, great question. Well, I don't know of any tools that are available, unfortunately, to filter your database. But what I can tell you is you can use your point-of-sale software, your CRM program, that will do some of the filtering that we're talking about for you. But a lot of it is just going to be you going through repair orders, you trying to decide, here are the economic values, you and your team sorting the gender, going through it, and you might even have some admin people help you do this process when you're going through the repair orders. So I wish I could give you some better news, but there's nothing that I'm aware of that can help you with that.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. In terms of ROI measurement for brand marketing, how do you track that? How do you know if you're just throwing money into the wind?
Well, I think the best way that I would be able to answer that question is William Wrigley, the fellow that started the chewing gum industry here in the United States and owned one of the baseball teams, I guess, in Chicago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not wrong. I hope that I'm not wrong. If not, I'll be getting pay details for that mistake. But William Wrigley at one time, he had said, I know that half of the money that I spend on advertising is wasted. The problem is I don't know which half it is. Mm-hmm. When it comes to brand awareness advertising, it's really hard to measure. Your question is really a great question. All that I can tell you is you need to be persistent with it, and all ships go up with the tide. When you're doing a great job at brand awareness advertising, your lead count, everything, all of your medias, everything will start to give you a better response. But your question's a great response.
Right.
There really is no effective way to measure how well are you doing with your pens or your Little League shirts that you're investing in. There's really no quick answer for any of those.
Right. We got a lot of questions coming in now. What percentage of your revenue should be spent on brand awareness?
That's a great question, and I'm going to hope that you're able to join us actually next week.
Okay, good.
Next week we're going to be looking at part 2 of identifying your customer. We're going to get into budget. So stick with this, my friend, and we'll help you there. That's for sure.
Oh, wow. We got a lot of questions.
Let's try another one, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. When filtering your best customers and you come to the point when you're sorting by frequency of visits, how many do you put in that stack?
Oh, that's a great question. That depends. I can't give you a number because that depends on how big your business is. If you have 100 customers a week or if you have 20 customers a week. But what I can tell you is what you're looking for. What you're looking for number of visits, there's an understanding that if customers come back to see you frequently, they don't mind going to the dentist. They don't have an apprehension about bringing their car in for service. They're not trying to avoid you. They're actually coming to you out of free will. So you want to find, I'm sure you'll agree with me, you want to find more customers that are like that.
Right.
I wish I could give you a mathematical number, my friend. I just can't.
Okay. Let's see. How about this one? For filtering our database, are we looking at individual invoices or customers' total visits over a 2-year time period?
Well, you start with the total income. You start with the total amount of income that they have spent with you. Hopefully that answered your question.
Okay, let's see. I'm scrolling through, you guys. Okay, there's some thank yous in there. How about, I believe we just did that one. Visits, we just tackled that one. Yes, to answer your question, the video will be recorded, you guys. I know that was something a few people asked.
And while she's scrolling through through those, to the gentleman or the gal that asked a question about brand awareness, I'll give you a very quick story that might be able to help you. Here in San Diego, and I'm not going to call the name of the publication, but there was a publication when I was still in the auto repair business. there was a publication that really was what I'll call a rag. All that it did is it had all the people trying to sell things, come in and buy my couch for $50. It was sort of like a trader kind of a magazine. So people would put ads in there when they're trying to sell their household goods or moving sale or whatever, and you could advertise in there. And all the shops that advertised in there, as you can imagine, they were advertising to the people that were looking for something for nothing. And they were always advertising $59 or whatever, $99 brake jobs and all. And every week, I would take the cover with the brand ad. Every week, I would take the cover, and I paid a tremendous amount of money taking the cover every week, and it was a brand ad. And everybody in the auto repair business said, Cooper, you're a moron. Why would you advertise in such a rag? Why would you want to do that? Why do you want to? And they didn't understand that what I was doing, and this is between you and I, all right? What I was doing is I knew that most people that I was looking for as a customer, I knew that they would throw it away. They would glance at the magazine and throw it away. But you know what else I knew? They would glance at the magazine before they would throw it away. So if I took an ad out inside of the magazine, my customers would never see it because they were the kind of customers that I were looking for. But if my customer did see the outside, they would see it before they threw it away. And you know what? It worked extraordinarily well for us because customers would come in and they would tell us that they saw us on the cover of the magazine on a regular basis. Jen, it looks like we're almost out of time. Why don't we take just one more, and then I got an idea for these guys.
Okay. As a transmission shop owner, lower car count. I assume he's saying we have lower car count than the general repair shop. When segmenting data, what would you suggest as a goal, since it is not always more visits? We look for referrals.
Yeah, great question. Your customers, and you know what? This is a conversation in itself, and I'd be more than happy to take that offline and. I'll be available. I'll be at the office for the next hour. And if you have a question, what you could do is you could email it to me at b.cooper@eliteworldwide.com. That's b.cooper@eliteworldwide.com. And provide me with your contact information, and I'll try to follow up with you and answer your question for you. Because I saw that we had a lot of questions, but unfortunately we're out of time and we don't want to overstay our welcome. So let's talk about next week, if we could, Jen.
Yes, so next week, session 2, we're going to finish up with the second portion of identifying your ideal customers and how to set the proper budget.
There you go. There you go.
And I'll turn on the camera, you guys, and we have one more message to share. There we are.
Okay, there we are again, guys. There we are.
But we want to thank you for being here today. It was pretty fun. Thanks for inviting me in, Mom.
Yeah, it was a blast. I had a great time, Jen, and you did a really great job. It was no surprise to me. She really has a great understanding of this content, to say the least. So, guys and gals, we'll see you next week. And again, if you have any questions at all that are hangover questions, send an email to b.cooper@eliteworldwide, and I'll try to respond to them as well as I can. Also, please provide a phone number, cell number where I might be able to reach you. That might make it a little bit easier as well.
Great idea.
Thanks for joining us. Mark your calendar. We look forward to seeing you next week. And don't forget, guys and gals, don't forget, use the same invitation that you got for this meeting for the next one.
Correct.
It's the same. Everything is the same. You can log in next meeting using the same information.
That'll be easy. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
See you then.